Hi, I'm James Sullivan. I turned 74 last week. Today I need to share something I've kept buried, something deeply private that completely shattered how I view love and relationships. And I need you to really listen, you see, because the story I'm about to tell you might just save you from the kind of hollow ache that haunts you for the rest of your life. My wife Mary and I were married for 42 years. That's a lifetime for many people. And for the vast majority of that time, I truly believed we had a successful marriage. Not a fairy tale, but good, stable, the kind of union others envy. But here is the brutal truth nobody warns you about regarding long marriages. You can share a roof with someone for decades and still become complete strangers. You can share a bed, a bank account, a history, and still be distant in the ways that actually count. Mary passed away 7 years ago. Ovarian cancer diagnosed in April, gone by August. Just 4 months from vibrant to vanishing. And in those final quiet weeks, lying in that hospital bed at home, she whispered something to me that replays in my mind every single morning. She said, "James, we spent so much of our lives trying to be stable instead of being close." Honestly, it didn't click at first. I felt defensive. We had a solid life, didn't we? We almost never shouted. We were secure. We had built a legacy. But that was exactly the issue. We were secure, and secure is not the same thing as connected. Let me explain what I mean. For years, Mary would propose things, little things. Let's take a watercolor painting class. Why don't we go for evening walks anymore? Remember when we used to drive just to watch the sunset? And I always had a logical excuse. I'm exhausted. It's too late, it costs too much, it's not practical. I wasn't trying to be cruel, I just assumed we had forever. I thought those tiny moments were optional. I thought the heavy lifting, paying the mortgage, being loyal, being dependable, I thought that was the whole job. It wasn't. You see, I thought love was about the big sacrifices, standing tall during a tragedy, fixing the car, showing up. And sure, those matter, but what I failed to grasp is that love is sustained in the microscopic, boring moments. The chat you have while the coffee brews, the touch on the shoulder for no reason, the way you listen, truly listen, when your partner talks about a book they read. I stopped doing those things, not overnight. It was a slow fade, so slow I was blind to it. One missed dinner conversation became a pattern. One "not tonight, I have work" turned into a lifestyle. One "we can do that next year" became never. And Mary, being Mary, she adjusted. She stopped asking for the painting class, stopped suggesting we go out dancing, stopped trying to initiate those soul-searching talks. She built her own circle, her own hobbies, her own world. We transformed into roommates who happened to wear rings, polite, respectful, and fundamentally lonely. I didn't see the problem. Or maybe I saw it and told myself it was just aging, that this is the natural order of 40-year marriages. The spark dies, you settle into a rhythm, you get comfortable, but comfortable is just a polite word for numb. When Mary got sick, reality crashed in. Suddenly we had a timeline. Suddenly all those some days I promised her had a terrifyingly specific end date. And in those last few months, we spoke more truthfully than we had in 22 years. She confessed things I never guessed. Ambitions she'd silently folded away. Pain she'd carried without a word. Times she felt essentially invisible in her own house. One evening, maybe 3 weeks before she passed, she told me about a trip she'd always craved to take to Ireland. Her grandfather was from Cork, and she'd always fantasized about seeing the cliffs, walking the green hills, understanding her lineage. She had brought it up to me a dozen times over the decades, and every single time I brushed it off, too pricey, bad timing at work. Maybe when we retire, I said. We never went, and now we never would. She wasn't yelling when she brought this up. That's what killed me. She was just quiet, resigned, like she had accepted long ago that I wasn't capable of being the adventurer she needed. I asked her why she didn't demand it, why she didn't fight me on it. And do you know what she said? I didn't want to drag you somewhere you didn't want to be. I wanted you to want to go with me. That sentence broke me into pieces because she was right. She didn't want a chaperone to Ireland. She wanted a husband who was eager to share the world with her, to be enthusiastic about her joy, to care simply because it mattered to her. And I couldn't even offer her that small grace. Listen, here is what I have learned, and I pray you are hearing me because this is vital. The greatest danger to your marriage isn't a massive fight or a scandal. It is apathy. It is the quiet assumption that they will always be there. It is the slow death of intimacy that occurs when you stop courting each other. You stop asking why because you think you know them inside out. You stop making an effort because you think the ring on your finger is enough. You stop prioritizing the connection because you think you have tomorrow, and one day you wake up next to a stranger, or worse, the side of the bed is empty, and you never really knew who slept there. After Mary died, I found a diary in her vanity drawer. She had been writing in it for years, and reading it was like meeting a woman I lived with, but never actually saw. She wrote about isolation, about feeling like she was talking to a wall, about tiny moments that stung her, times I was physically in the room but mentally miles away, times I chose the television over her voice, times I looked at my watch while she was telling a story. She also wrote about love, about the boy she married in the 70s, hoping that Guy would return, trying to find a way back to me. I was right there. We breathed the same air every night. But honestly, I might as well have been a ghost, and here is the part that tears me apart. It wasn't malicious. I wasn't trying to neglect her. I just got lazy. I thought presence was enough. I thought being a good provider was the finish line. I thought the absence of conflict was the same as the presence of love. But relationships don't die from explosions. They die from a million tiny shrugs. If you are sitting next to someone right now, I want you to ask yourself hard questions. When is the last time you had a raw conversation with your partner, not about bills or the kids or groceries? A real conversation about their fears, their hopes, their internal world. When is the last time you did something solely to bring them joy? Not for a birthday or Christmas, but just because it's Tuesday. When is the last time you looked at them, truly studied their face, and felt lucky? If you can't recall, well, you are walking the same path I walked. Your person isn't going to be there indefinitely. I know that sounds morbid, but it is the only truth that matters. One of you has to go first, and when that happens, there are no second chances. You don't get to rewind the tape and take the trip. You don't get to ask the questions you skipped. You don't get to say the words you assumed were implied. Mary and I had 42 years, and I squandered at least half of them being comfortable instead of connected, being safe instead of being vulnerable, being there instead of being involved. Don't make my error. Love isn't a noun, it's a verb. It is something you do every single day. It is choosing to be fascinated by your spouse even after a lifetime. It is trying the new hobby even if you feel silly. It is having the difficult talks even when silence is easier. It is caring about their interests, not because the topic interests you, but because they interest you. After Mary passed, friends told me I was a good man. They meant well, but they were incorrect. I wasn't a good husband. I was a decent roommate. I met the bare minimum. I didn't stray, didn't hit, didn't leave, but that is a pathetically low standard. Being a good partner means actively constructing intimacy, choosing to be open, staying engaged, making the effort even when you are drained. I failed to do that, and now I live with the regret of knowing I held a diamond in my hands and let it turn to dust through sheer inattention. 7 years later, I still dream about Ireland, about how small the cost would have been to just say yes. A week of work, a few dollars, insignificant, and it would have meant the world to her. I think about the painting classes she mentioned, the dance nights, the quiet coffees, all the small invitations she extended, and all the times I said no, or not now, or maybe next summer. Next summer never arrived, you know. It rarely does. If you love someone, if you share your days with someone, don't wait for the perfect moment to show them. Don't assume they know. Don't take them for granted. Ask about their bucket list. Listen to their rambling stories. Do the things they propose, even if it's not your cup of tea, because strengthening your bond should be your cup of tea. Be present, be awake, be deliberate, because one day you will be where I am, sitting in a quiet house, looking through 1970s Polaroids, reading old diaries, and realizing you had paradise, and you didn't see it until it was gone. I'm not saying this to burden you with guilt. I'm telling you this because you still have the clock ticking in your favor. Your partner is still there. You can still have those talks, book those tickets, make those memories, but you have to move now. On my desk, I keep a photo of Mary from our honeymoon, 1973. She is laughing, wind in her hair, squinting against the sun, so full of optimism and life. And I think about the woman she became, still beautiful, still gentle, but with a quiet shadow in her eyes that I put there through years of benign neglect. Mary was right. We wasted so much time being stable instead of being close. Don't waste your time the way I wasted mine. Love the people in your life actively, fiercely, while you still have the chance. This channel features people like me sharing life lessons and hard truths. If you found this meaningful, please subscribe and hit the bell for more. And if this sparked something in you, leave a comment, click that like button. Thank you for watching. Come visit the channel, you'll learn a lot about life here. Goodbye.